The gates of Buckingham Palace are known for keeping secrets as effectively as a lead-lined vault, but today, those gates haven't just creaked open, they have been blasted off their hinges. While the world is still reeling from the news that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested only yesterday on his 66th birthday, a former Royal Protection Officer has decided that silence is no longer in his job description. In a bombshell interview that has sent shockwaves from London to New York, this veteran guard didn't just whistleblow, he played a full orchestral symphony regarding the horrifying reality of working for the man the tabloids once dubbed Randy Andy. We are talking about allegations of certain types of behavior that made seasoned police officers want to hand in their badges, a toxic culture of punishment for those who dared to report concerns, and the chilling revelation that those tasked with protecting the prince were often the ones most repulsed by him. It is a tale of power, Epstein-linked secrets, and a full-scale rot that has finally been exposed to the light of day. Quick favor, if you're loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It's free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now back to the show.
Major headache for the palace officials as it's revealed that bodyguards and other members of the firm, which is the management of the royal family, may have turned a blind eye to the actions of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and his friendship with the disgraced paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. So how much did the firm know? And given the fact that the king is the CEO of the firm, should he step down if this organisation knew more than they're saying about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? Who better to ask than the former head of Royal Protection, the man who was responsible for King Charles's safety?
The catalyst for this sudden bravery? The release of billions of pages from the Jeffrey Epstein files, which have acted like a GPS tracker for Andrew's past indiscretions. Speaking on the Crime Agents podcast with Andy Hughes, the former officer described the Duke of York's detail as the least desirable gig in the Metropolitan Police. Imagine you are a highly trained officer, a professional who has sworn an oath to uphold the law. Now imagine your daily job involves standing outside a bedroom door or a private jet cabin while certain types of behavior take place inside. Behavior that feels instinctively wrong, even if you cannot technically prove it is criminal at the exact moment. The officer told Hughes that working for the former prince was the one job officers absolutely did not want. During the Randy Andy days, Andrew was reportedly flying all over the world, meeting women, which put his security detail in a very difficult position. They were essentially forced to be reluctant witnesses to a lifestyle that defied both royal protocol and basic decency. This isn't just a matter of a prince having a busy social life. It is about an officer feeling their presence was being used as a shield for activities that made their own skin crawl. The analogy here is like being a lifeguard at a pool where you are told to ignore the person struggling in the deep end because they are related to the owner. Watch this.
Guy?
Good morning to you. Nice to be with you again, Mark.
Well, it's lovely to have you back on the programme. We've got bodyguards, we've got butlers, we've got courtiers, we've got undergardeners. There's a whole network of people that serve the royal family professionally. It's not beyond the wit of man to imagine that they might have known some of what Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was allegedly up to.
Well, I totally agree, and I've been calling this out for the police to properly investigate for nearly 6 years now, ever since that infamous meeting or interview that he did.
Yeah.
No, it's time we got real about this. I am fed up with the platitudes that have come out. And it's only recently that they decided they'd actually mention the victims. Let's be real. Nobody pays out 12 million or allegedly 12 million to somebody you don't know, aided and abetted by your family, if you don't, before that, have had a real inquiry into the truth. And that's the truth of this. What on earth was going on at the palace by the officials and indeed the royals? They must have known the truth behind this before spending £12 million. It is inconceivable to me that anybody would do that without having real evidence of his guilt and the fact, even then, we didn't know a fraction of what is now alleged, and so on and so forth. So let's get real. Let's get some truth for once, and let's get the police sorting this out once and for all. They have stopped doing that for many years, as far as this is concerned. And frankly, I'm angry about it, because nobody should be above the law at every level. And somebody knew and have aided and abetted this. It's a conspiracy of silence.
But surely, you might ask, why did these elite officers not just report what they saw to their superiors? Well, that is where the story takes a dark, bureaucratic turn. Hughes exposed a systemic punishment routine that sounds like something out of a dystopian novel. If an officer had the audacity to report concerns about a member of the royal family, they were not given a commendation. Instead, they were reportedly stripped of their prestigious royal unit status and put back in uniform to walk the beat. In the world of policing, moving from the elite close protection command, where you travel the world and wear bespoke suits, back to walking a rainy pavement in a high visibility vest is the ultimate professional demotion. It was a clear message from the higher-ups: keep your mouth shut or lose your career. This officer believes that others who were with Andrew on Epstein's Island must have seen something, but the fear of being beat walking bait kept them silent for decades. It was not just about protecting a prince, it was about a police force protecting its own access to the palace.
To the monarchy, because I'm a great monarchist and I want to preserve the royal family. Did you hear anything about Andrew's behaviour as your time serving as head of royal protection?
No, is the truth. And of course, it's a long time ago since I was there. And he was in the Navy then. And yes, he had a reputation for being a womanizer, but that's not a criminal offence.
Correct.
What is a criminal offence? If you aid and abet, counsel or procure trafficking. And that's the allegation against him. And that's been around now since 2015, when Virginia first made the allegation. And 4 times the Met Police have said, no, there's nothing to see here, even though 2 of the alleged participants were British. And as you know, if you traffic anywhere in the world as a British citizen for sex, that's a criminal offence. And yet, 4 times they have said, there's nothing to see here. Well, you don't get any evidence unless you investigate. And you investigate former police officers or current police officers who are protection officers. You interview the 4 or 5 people he took everywhere, including one to carry his ironing board, and say, what did you see? It's just beggars belief, frankly, that we're all being taken for mugs.
Do you anticipate?
The reason this guard is speaking out now, in February 2026, is because the shroud of mystery has been replaced by the glare of evidence. The millions of pages of documents released by the US Department of Justice last month have provided the corroboration these officers never thought they would have. The former guard's testimony on live television essentially confirms that the private prince the world is now seeing in the Epstein files is the exact same man the guards saw behind closed doors. One of the most damning revelations involves the claims that officers were put in awkward positions regarding young women and girls seen on the island and at royal residences. The officer states that even if they did not witness overt criminality, they witnessed stuff that was extremely unsettling. This includes the infamous emails where Andrew reportedly asked for private time at Buckingham Palace for his guests. For a protection officer, private time is a security nightmare, but for Andrew, it was reportedly a requirement.
Neil Sean, UK royal reporter and author, has covered the royal family for more than 20 years. Neil, tell us your reaction to this huge story and what it all means.
Well, good afternoon, firstly, Martha.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, a terrible story. 2 points, right? Let me explain this, and this is exclusively to you. Andrew himself, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, offered voluntarily to go to Thames Valley Police. And it's my understanding this was 3 days ago. Now, it's interesting, isn't it, that they picked, first and foremost, his birthday 6 or 7 cars, nobody's quite sure, suddenly on site at 8 a.m. This is dramatics. This is to try and get some kind of, exposure, look what we're doing, etc. Now, when I spoke to someone this afternoon, they said that we didn't have all the information required by the fact that he could have come in voluntarily. But the bottom line really is, we know where he is. He's already behind guards. Nobody thinks he's going to escape. And truly, if he'd already offered, then really, why didn't they take up the opportunity then and sit down and say, this is where we're at? It all is a little bit, shall we say, messy.
The timing of this exposure could not be more dramatic. Yesterday, on February 19th, 2026, his 66th birthday, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested by Thames Valley Police. This was not for the historical allegations we have heard for years, but for something entirely new: misconduct in public office. The police arrived at Wood Farm, the cottage on the Sandringham estate, at 8 a.m. They did not bring a birthday cake, they brought a warrant. The investigation focuses on claims that during his tenure as a UK trade envoy, Andrew shared confidential government trade reports with Jeffrey Epstein. We are talking about market-sensitive information regarding Singapore, Hong Kong, and Vietnam. The former guard's testimony adds a layer of behavioral context to these legal charges. It suggests a man who saw himself as above the rules of the state he represented. If you are sharing state secrets with a convicted sex offender while your taxpayer-funded guards are forced to look the other way, you are not just a disgraced royal, you are a national security liability. King Charles III has reacted with what the palace calls profound concern. He has taken the unprecedented step of stating that the law must take its course. This is a massive shift from the days when the monarchy would circle its wagons. Charles is essentially saying, I am not going to be the one walking the beat for you, Andrew. The sadness the king displayed at London Fashion Week yesterday was not just for his brother, but for the damage this does to the crown itself. Public support is hemorrhaging, according to recent polls. People are no longer just disappointed, they are horrified. When a royal guard goes on live television to say his job was horrifying, the public starts to wonder how much of their tax money went into facilitating that horror. The figure of £150 million has been floated as the cost of protecting Andrew over the years, a staggering sum for someone who was reportedly making his guards puke with his behavior. The Randy Andy nickname was once treated as a bit of a joke, a sign of a playboy prince. But as this former guard has exposed, there was nothing funny about it. It was a lifestyle of entitlement that relied on the silence of professionals. The officer's description of Andrew flying all over the world to meet women, putting his detail in very difficult positions, suggests a man who lacked any sense of duty to the office he held. As the police continued their searches at Wood Farm and Royal Lodge, the testimony of these guards will be crucial. They are the ones who can confirm the who, what, and where of the emails found in the Epstein files. If the emails say Andrew invited Epstein to the palace, the guards are the ones who can say, yes, I opened the door. This is the full-scale firefight that Prince William predicted years ago, and now the guards are the ones holding the hoses. The 2026 reality for Andrew is bleak. He is no longer a prince, he is no longer a duke, and as of yesterday, he is a criminal suspect. The former guard who spoke out has essentially put the pin on the grenade that has been sitting in the palace basement for decades. With Sarah Ferguson reportedly planning an escape to the UAE and her daughters Beatrice and Eugenie caught in the crossfire of the Epstein emails, the House of York is not just in trouble, it is being dissolved in real time. The sadness underneath the king's smile is the realization that the monarchy's greatest threat did not come from Republicans or protesters, it came from within. It came from a brother who thought his guards were his servants and that the law was a suggestion. The horrified guard is just the first. More are expected to come forward now that the arrest has broken the spell of deference. In the end, the story of the guard who was horrified by Andrew is the story of the British public's relationship with the monarchy in 2026. We are all horrified. We are all tired of the blind eyes and the unsettling revelations. As Andrew waits for the next move from Thames Valley Police, the words of that former officer will ring in the ears of every citizen. They must have seen something. The something they saw is now being laid bare for the world to see. It is a tale of misconduct, of betrayal, and of a prince who forgot that his title was a gift from the people, not a right to abuse. The sad news from Buckingham Palace is that the era of secrets is over. The horrifying truth is finally in the light, and there is no going back to the way things were. Thank you for watching.